What's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen. Get some.
I was watching a movie the other day, too, man. Hey, has Morgan Freeman ever been young? He's been old for a long fucking time, man. I've never seen pictures of little Morgan Freeman. He's been 55 since Electric Company, man. I watched Shawshank Redemption. That movie took place over 30 years. Every motherfucker age but him. He was the same age through all them posters. All them posters. It was the same Morgan. He was in one of my favorite movies, though, Lean On Me. God damn, I love that movie. Shit! Code Red, change the doors! The enemy is here! I'm still old as a motherfucker!
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen with the Get Some podcast. You can listen to this at iTunes. Just search Gary Owen, hashtag Get Some, or search United We Cast. Or go to my YouTube page, youtube.com/Gary Owen Com. It's funny, I find myself being a water whore. I don't know if it's a water whore or a bougie water drinker. I just realized that. I look at people to drink Dasani like they're less than me. And I don't know why. Because I've read like Dasani and Aquafina is like the worst two waters. So what I found is I drink Essentia a lot. I drink Core a lot. And back when I shot Think Like a Man, Romany Malco, who I consider the smartest man alive, if they would ever do like the most interesting man in the world, if they ever turn that to a black dude, I would like try to pitch Romany as that guy. Because he literally knows everything about health, about entertainment business, about just about everything. He's just smart. He told me to go to Whole Foods and get the 365 water. It says electrolyte water. He said that's the best. But he also said that 4 or 5 years ago, before Essentia and Core Water came out. Now I bought into Essentia by seeing athletes drink it and other entertainers and vouching for it. Now you don't know, are they paid to say that? Kind of like the flat tummy tea. Then the Core, somebody recommended me that as a nutritionist. They said that's good water. So I don't really care about Core, but I find those are the only three waters I drink: Core, Essentia, and the 365 from Whole Foods. And I realize, I go, oh my God, I'm a bougie water drinker. Like when I go to a deli or any kind of place to get some food, if they don't have any, well, obviously not going to have 365. That's a Whole Foods water. But if they don't have Essentia Core, I'm like, what kind of business is this? What? You got Life Water? That's it? At the airports, it's tough to find either of those, so I usually go with Fiji or Aquafina at the airport. But I'm always amazed when somebody goes and buys Dasani, because I'd be looking, I'm like, you know what? You can get better water than that, right? Like I want to go off on it. I get the water at Starbucks a lot too, and I don't even know if that's good water or not. But if I'm at the airport, you can't get water through, and I go to Starbucks and get a coffee or something, I'll just grab a water for the flight. I just realized that because right before I went to air, I took a sip of water and I looked and it was the 365 electrolyte water from Whole Foods. And I was like, that's good water. And then I'm looking over in my kitchen and I was like, oh, there's Core on the counter. So I'm a bougie water drinker. If that makes you think less of me, then so be it. It's kind of similar. Like I like to take a little pride on thinking I smell good. And people always ask me what I'm wearing. And I never want to say, because I don't want them going out and buying the cologne that I wear. But I'm going to let the cat out the bag. I wear Bond number 9. And I think you only get it at Saks. I don't know if you can get it at Neiman. It's basically Creed's rival. You got Creed, a lot of people wear. But then I like Bond number 9. And I got wind of it 10 years ago. James Posey, who used to play for the Celtics and the Heat. He was playing for the Celtics at the time. And they were playing the Heat, and I was in Miami. I went to the game, and afterwards, I was like, God. I said, no homo, but what are you wearing? Because he smelled amazing. And he was like, he whipped it out of his little bag, goes, right here, man, it's the new shit. And it was like this Bond number 9. And I can say that now I wear Bond number 9 because there's so many different scents. It's not like there's one scent of Bond number 9. There's one Drakkar. There's one Polo. You know, there's so many different fragrances of Bond number 9. It's kind of pricey, but makes you smell good. A lot of people say I smell good. So I was like, cool. Even my agent said some of the people in the office, his office, like his assistants have asked when I'm coming in, And I said, why would they ask that? Because I guess when I'm in New York, the New York office of my agency, they asked that. And he was like, because everybody in the office says you smell good. I was like, I don't know why that made me feel good. I was like, good. And next time I went in the office, I was just kind of looking behind me when I walked by people like, yeah, you smell it. You smell it. You know you felt that. You felt that nice aroma. Yeah, that's a Gary Owen aroma. That's right. Okay, I'm going to talk about this thing that bothered me. It's been eating at me for a couple weeks now, and I haven't addressed it. And I'm anxious to hear people's comments when they hear what I'm talking about. A couple weeks ago, I went to a buddy of mine. His father passed away, and he was a great friend in high school. And we haven't lost touch thanks to Facebook, but he lives in another part of Ohio, a very rural part, and I don't. I travel, so I hadn't seen him that much in the last 20 years since we got out of high school. I saw him every now and then, but it's probably been, well, he came to my show in December when I was at the Taft Theater in Cincinnati. And I saw him after the show briefly. And but other than that, it had probably been 10 years since I've seen him. But we stay in touch. And he was always a good friend growing up, and I never forgot that. And his mom and dad especially was real cool to me. His dad was like 30 years. He was a bus driver, and he was also a farmer. And I remember thinking, when does your dad sleep? Because if you're a farmer, you get up at like 4 a.m. to do stuff around the farm. And then he went and got on a bus and was a bus driver for kids. And then, so he drove the bus for a few hours in the morning. Then he went back to the farm and worked. And then he went back to picking up kids when it was time to get out of school. So I just remember that's a hardworking dude. So I remember his mom and his dad was always good to me. And I even told him, I told him his name's Tim. I said, Tim, I remember in high school you invited me over for dinner and your mom made Kraft macaroni and cheese and fish sticks. And that shit tasted like steak, like a well-seasoned steak to me, just because I didn't grow up where you sat around the table and had dinner with your family. And to have that experience with his family, and that may not seem like much, but when his mom asked me what I wanted and started putting it on my plate, and then when I got done eating, she asked me if I wanted some more. And I was like, what? And this kind of ties in. I'm going to do the crazy stepdad story early in this episode. And it ties into, I ate all my food, but then she asked me if I wanted some more. I wasn't used to that because I remember one time we was on vacation and I had to be 14. I was 14 years old. And we went on 2 vacations my whole life. And both times we drove from Cincinnati down to Florida. And we stayed at an uncle's house. But one time I went to St. Augustine and my stepdad wanted to see there's like this little amusement park. You get on a glass bottom boat and it's where the Johnny Weissmuller Tarzans were filmed. It's not really a big amusement park and it's all right. But he wanted to see it. So we stopped and ate some little diner restaurant and I ordered French toast. And literally it was a piece of bread cut in half. It wasn't 2 pieces. It might have been 2 pieces, maybe. But that's all it was. Yeah, it was 2 pieces of bread cut in half. And then you put syrup and butter on it and it makes it French toast. But that's all they had. So when I ordered the French toast, I got done eating. Here I am, 14 years old. I'm growing. And I was like, I asked my mom, I said, Mom, can I get some more to eat? You think I can get some more to eat? And my stepdad just went off in the restaurant. God, you should have ordered some more food then. And I was like, oh, guess that's a no. So I never asked for seconds. And growing up, I always felt guilty eating. That's a bad thing when you feel guilty eating in your own house or asking for something to drink. Because we used to buy the 2 liters of soda, the 2 liters of Pepsi and Coke. We never bought the bottles or cans. And I always felt guilty taking any of the soda out because I knew that's what my stepdad was drinking. So what I would do, I would wait at night. And then when people was asleep, I would open the fridge. The only bad part of opening the fridge is the light comes on the kitchen. So I'd like open the fridge, take the 2 liter out real quick and shut it. So it would be dark. And then I'd take like the biggest gulp of soda out of the 2 liter. But I always looked at it like, I hope they can't tell that it went down a little bit because the 2 liters were always clear. So you could tell when somebody pours a glass, like the soda gets less, like it went from 3/4 full to half full. I always took a big enough gulp or I should say small enough gulp that if you saw the 2 liter, you wouldn't know I took a drink. But I always felt like I was getting over because then I'd open the fridge and put it back in there. And I'm like, yeah, fuckers, you don't even know I took some soda last night. And I drank out of the 2 liter. I didn't even pour it in a glass. That's why I think I like the color purple so much, because when Suge spit in that dude's lemonade, the Danny Glover's dad, I was like, yeah. I didn't ever spit in anything, but I was thinking they got a little bit of my backwash. But I told you, I get sidetracked a lot in these podcasts. But when Tim's mom asked me if I wanted some more food, I was just like, I never had that. I always felt guilty when I ate too much or drank too much at my own house. So that little bit of kindness meant a lot to me. And his mom and dad was always cool with me. And me and my buddy, we always Tim, we wrestled and played football together all growing up. So he's always just a good guy. He'd always pick me up and take me back to the trailer park after practice, or if we went out and went and saw a movie, he'd pick me up and then bring me back. So I never forgot guys like that growing up. With that being said, his father passed away a few weeks ago, and he posted it on Facebook. And this is why I'm so thankful for social media sometimes, because I looked at my schedule and I said, no way. I said, I land in enough time I can get to our small town and make his dad's funeral. So I get off the plane and I go straight from the plane to get to the funeral. So I'm not in a suit and tie. I'm dressed in black pants with a black polo, and I had some black shoes on. So it wasn't like I went there looking scroungy, but I wasn't in a suit because I was flying all day. But I made the funeral. So Tim sees me and he's appreciative, and he's, thanks for coming and blah, blah, blah. And we got to talk for a little bit. And then this guy comes up to me and he goes, hey, thanks for dressing up. I was so pissed because I knew what he was getting at. I knew he was trying to get a dig on me. And that's the first thing he said to me. It wasn't, glad you made it. It's good you're here. Nothing like that. It was, hey, thanks for dressing up. And he said it kind of like a joke, trying to be funny because there was other people around when he said it that I was talking to. But I remember thinking, you fucker. And not to toot my own horn, I said, you know what I did to make it here? I said, I got off the plane on a red eye flying across country, and I got here just so I could pay my respects to his dad. I never look at people when they show up at a funeral, what they have on, as being disrespectful. I'm like, I'm just glad you're here. And then my buddy told me that the guy that said this to me came up to him and said, hey, you know the infamous Gary Owen? And I go, infamous? And then my buddy even said, what do you mean by infamous? And he was like, I just see him around school. I know he does stuff for the school. So it was that little comment said a lot. He's like the infamous. And then he said, thanks for dressing up to me. Because I was like, oh, that's a little hating going on right there. I don't know this dude from a can of paint. I don't think I've ever met him before. And he's at the funeral. He's older than me. And I think he works for the high school I went to. But I just remember thinking, what a dig. What a dirty thing to say. And I don't know if he thought he was being funny, but I knew what he was doing. And I didn't want to, it wasn't the time or place, but it bothered me so much. And I couldn't say anything because, I'm a comedian and my initial reaction is to smart off and have a quick comeback. But I just kind of let it go. I just went, just gave a little chuckle or something because nobody else laughed when he said it. I was just looking at him like, why would he even say that? I don't know. I would never say it to anybody because you don't know what people went through to get to a funeral, or are they coming in from work? I've seen people at funerals just come in their work outfit. They could be in a FedEx or a UPS, or they work at a garage. As long as you make the effort to pay your respects, I don't care what you wear. Man, that shit pissed me off. And then so I am. I go to the funeral, and I don't go to the cemetery. I had to get some stuff done, but I told my buddy, I said, dude, they was going to a church to have dinner afterwards and some food and hang out. And I was like, I'll meet you at the church. And he goes, okay. So I ended up at the church and I got to talk to my buddy for a couple hours and his wife. And it was just good to catch up. And that's a sign of a good friendship when you don't see somebody for years. And then when you see them, you just pick up right where you left off. I got about 4 or 5 of those guys, man, where if I don't call them or they don't call me, it's not like, man, you're too good for me or you ain't got time for me. Everybody's got families. Everybody's got kids. And when you're around each other, it's just you pick up right where you left off. And I got friends like that. And I realized Tim was one of those guys, man. We just picked up like it was early 90s. But what put me in a good mood before I went to the church. So I go to the funeral. Then afterwards, I go to Starbucks. And I'm little like heated by what that guy said to me. Because you know how when people say something and you don't realize what their intent was until a few minutes later? That's what that was. And he goes, hey, thanks for dressing up. And then I was like, I kind of gave a little chuckle. And then once I got in my car and I was by myself and I was kind of replaying the last hour, I said, that son of a bitch. He took a dig on me in front of people for no reason. And I'm in Starbucks and now I'm a little heated and everything. And then I get to the window at Starbucks and the guy goes, yeah, this is all taken care of. The person in front of you paid for your drink. They said it was just their good deed for the day. They wanted to do something good for somebody. And it was funny because I'm behind this person in line and they were taking forever to order. I don't know what they ordered or they was having a huge discussion at the order window. And in my brain, I was kind of out of it because you know how you're in your car, but you're not paying attention to everything around you. And I think that's why some people get in wrecks because you start daydreaming. My brain is still at the funeral. And I don't even remember how I got to that Starbucks or what, but I do remember sitting there for a longer than normal period of time waiting to pull up. And the person in front of me was taking forever to order. And I think they realized it. So to say thanks for not honking your horn or going off or anything, they just bought my latte. And I was like, dang, I should have ordered some more shit. But it just put me in a good mood the rest of the day. That little good deed, it took me out of my funk. Like I'm sitting there like, motherfucker, you gonna come with me at the funeral because I'm dressed up in a suit? You know what I went through to get to that funeral? Hey, person before you bought your latte. What? And then you just stop. And I literally stared at my latte before I took a sip of it like, this is gonna be a good latte. And the only thing I regret, I didn't do it for the person behind me. But I was so caught up in them being nice to me, I damn sure didn't pay it forward because I just drove off. Call me a dick. But I was just so caught up in what the kindness that person did. I was like, can't believe it. Just made me feel good about the day. And I forgot all about the dude getting the dig on me until now. I want to talk about it on the podcast, but until now, it made me completely forget about it. The thing about good deeds and everything, a lot of people say you do it not for the recognition. And people do good deeds not for the recognition. I get that. But you're lying to yourself as a human if you don't look for the recognition and then somebody gives it to you. It feels good when somebody gives it to you. We act like, oh, I do a good deed, but I don't want no recognition for it. And I don't do it for that reason, which is true. But it also feels really, and I'm going to cuss, really fucking good. When you do something, then you didn't do it for anybody to see, or you didn't do it for praise. You didn't go on social media and post about it. And then somebody recognizes you for it. They said, I saw you do that. And that was a good deed. I was like, that happened to me once. Not that I haven't done one good deed in my life. I've done a few. But one time I went to a bank and I'm walking into the bank. And right before I walked in the bank, there was a money bag. And I opened the money bag and it was $2,500 in the money bag. And I counted it because I was like, there's no way. I literally sat outside the bank on a little stoop and counted the money. And because I just couldn't believe it. And I thought it was a prank. I thought there was hidden cameras. I don't know. But I looked around like there was nobody else around. And I was like, somebody dropped their bank drop. Like this was a drop. It looked at me like it was a business and it was a drop that somebody dropped. And I was like, so I go into the bank and it's not even my bank. It was in one of them them buildings in downtown Cincy where there was like a bank, a diner, a radio. I was going to the radio station. That's what I was doing. I was going to the radio station to do a radio interview. And the radio station's on the second floor and the bank was on the first floor. And right before I walked into the building, I saw, you put your money in these, they look like little zip things. They're almost plastic they look waterproof. And so I walked into the bank and I turned it in. I said, hey, somebody dropped this. It's $2,500. And the lady looked at me like, how do you know how much money's in there? But I turned it in. I said, I know this is somebody probably coming in the bank or leaving. I said, but here it is. And I just left. I walked out. I didn't think anybody saw it. And then it was probably 6-7 years later, somebody sends a message on Twitter or Facebook or something. And they had said they were so happy for my success. They said, and they always tell people, I saw Gary Owen find money on basically the sidewalk outside a bank and walked into the bank and turned it in. And the lady at the bank asked for my name and phone number. And so when the person they tell what happened to them, I said, you don't have to do that. And they're like, no, please, please, please. And the lady knew who dropped it, I'm sure. So this lady saw that all go down and she said, I'm so happy for your success because I saw you do that. And she goes, I always tell people, like Gary's a good dude. He turned that money in. And I never thought anybody saw me do it. I just did it because I always put myself in somebody else's shoes. Like, man, if I dropped that amount of money, I'd probably be a wreck. And then also thinking it's probably a business that somebody might lose their job, or you're the owner of the business and you might need that money for your rent that week or whatever. There's a lot of money just to lose. And I turned it in. And then also goes to when I say I put myself in those situations, the reason I busted my butt to get back to my buddy's dad's funeral is I just said, if somebody did that for me, that would mean so much to me. That would mean a lot just to support me. And that happened at my brother's funeral. There was quite a few people that I went to high school with that didn't know my brother, but they came just for me. And that always means a lot. So here's where the story gets funny though. So I find this money. I turn it into the bank. I give my name and phone number. I didn't think anybody saw it. Years later, a lady said she saw it and she's happy I'm successful now because she always tells people about that day. Didn't know, I didn't do it for that reason. I just thought, turn the money. It's the right thing to do. But here's where the story gets funny. It was a money drop for this place called Conley Liquors. I never heard of it. I don't know where it's at. It was a place called Conley Liquors in Cincinnati, Ohio. The guy calls me. I guess he's the owner. And he goes, hey, can I speak to Gary Owen? I was like, yeah, this is him. He goes, hey, I'm just throwing a name. Hey, this is Mike Conley from Conley Liquors. He goes, the bank told me you turned in my money. I said, yeah. He goes, hey man, I appreciate you did. He goes, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you. And in my mind, I'm thinking, come on down to Conley Liquors and get all this liquor. I got a bottle for you here. I got a bottle of champagne. What do you drink? I'll grab a bottle of Belvedere. Would you like a nice tequila? Whatever you want, come down to Conley Liquors and have at it. That's what I think he was going to say. This is what he said. Hey, Gary, this is Mike Conley from Conley Liquors. I heard you brought our money in. I just want to tell you I appreciate it. And I'll tell you what I did. I said a prayer for you and your family. What? That's it? This dude, literally, I had never been so offended by a prayer in my life. I was like, a prayer? You can keep your goddamn prayer. I want some liquor. I turned in the liquor store but the dramatic pause is what got me. Tell you what I did. I said a prayer for you and your family. What? I don't want somebody from a liquor store saying a prayer for me. It's kind of like when my buddy that's in prison that I've talked about before, or anybody that I know in jail, or any TV shows that I see where somebody's in prison, and the prisoners always say, "I'm praying for you." I was like, "Nah, I don't want jail. I don't want jail prayers. Talk to me when you're on probation. You get out. I want free people praying for me." You should be praying for yourself. You're in jail. You need to focus on yourself and pray for yourself. Don't worry about me. And I'll never forget, Conley Liquor said a prayer for me. Thank you. That was like when I was 7, I found a wallet. We live in an apartment complex. I'll never forget, I found a wallet. And I didn't count it. I just went into the leasing office and turned it in to the ladies in the leasing office. I said, hey, I found a wallet. But I do remember there was a lot of cash in the wallet. Like, it was really fat. It could have been all singles. I don't know. And I'm 7, so this story is probably embellished now that it's over 30 years later. But the guy comes in and the ladies goes, well, come back tomorrow. We know exactly whose wallet it is, because the guy had an ID. And it turned up it was like a maintenance man that worked on all the buildings in our apartment complex. And this wasn't a small apartment complex either. It was huge. So we had about 4 maintenance men in the apartment buildings, because it wasn't like the ones where you walk in. It was really townhouses, really. But it was its own little complex, its own little, it wasn't small, I'll just put it that way. Probably 100 units. So the guy comes back and he leaves me $1. Like, I come back the next day and he left me $1. I was expecting a 5 or 10. And keep in mind, when I'm 7, if somebody leaves you $10 30 years ago, that's like 1,000, But he left me $1. And at that age, I could go to the corner convenience store, and I remember and this was crazy about my memory. I remember what I bought with that $1. I bought a whatchamacallit candy bar, a Score candy bar, SKOR. I don't know if people remember those. Whatchamacallit, a Score, and I bought the little those. Both the candy bars were 35 cents, and then I bought a little cheese and crackers things where you got the little plastic. It's not even a knife. It's like a rectangle, and it's in with the crackers. And then you take the cheese and put it on the crackers, which couldn't have been healthy. I bought that because that was 30 cents. So the Score and the whatchamacallit was 35, and then the little cracker cheese thing was 30 cents. So it came out to $1 even. That's what I bought with that $1. Don't ask me why I remember that, but I remember walking directly to the corner store and getting those 2 candy bars and the cheese and crackers. And I was just doing the math in my head, like, that's $1 even. I hope there ain't no tax. But anyways, me and the wife are going to take a trip to Hawaii. We went last year and had a ball. We go to a different island every year. And this year we're going to Maui. That's the one island. I think it's the one island we haven't been to. We've been to all the other ones. Our least favorite in Hawaii is the one where Honolulu's at. I think it's Oahu. That's our least favorite because it's so busy. It's like you might as well be in LA, honestly. It's just so busy. Whereas when I go to Hawaii, I just want to relax, be away from everything. And I don't want it to be busy. I want it to be slow. That's why I go there to decompress and unwind. And I always tell my wife, don't make no plans. I don't want to be obligated at any point during my day. I don't want to be obligated to be somewhere at a certain time. Because you do some of these hiking trips and tours and people want to go see a waterfall. They're like, okay, be in the lobby at 10 a.m. And then it's a 2-hour van ride with a bunch of people you don't know. And then you got to walk another hour to get to the waterfall. And then you're at the waterfall for an hour. And you don't even know if you're going to like the people you're walking with or riding with. It could be a dud group, or they could be the people that are asking about the trees. What kind of tree is that? What kind of flower? When does it bloom? Oh, is it okay. Okay, is it seasonal? I can't stand that shit. I told my wife, we go, don't make no plans. We'll just get in a car and explore. And that's what we've done every time we've gone to Hawaii. Because the first time she tried to make all these tours and excursions and plans, and I nixed them. I said, I don't want to do that. I didn't come here for that. I came here to do nothing. We barely like to leave the resort, honestly. But we'll just get in a car and we'll just go. And we found some cool little towns, man. We've driven around and gone off the beaten path and found like a street with just stores or, locals. And we'll sit and talk to them and BS, like, how'd you get here? Where you from? Those are some of the best moments I've had in Hawaii. We ran up on a black sand beach one time. We went hiking down this mountain that couldn't have been safe because it wasn't a tourist spot. We're walking down this mountain. And as we're walking down, these 2 guys come up and they both got guns and they got a dog, like a wild dog. And I'm not lying. Me and my wife was walking down this, I would say a long hill. I don't want to say a mountain, But we both had to piss so bad. We've been in the car for an hour and we've been walking for an hour. And I pissed first and I was looking out. And then my wife took a piss and then she was pissing. We're looking out. And as soon as she pulled up her shorts, the guy done pissing, here come them guys. I go, man, they missed that piss by about 30 seconds. But the fact that they had a dog and these guns, I go, damn, we about to get robbed? And they just walked right by us, gave us a little wave. They clearly had to be locals living in the mountains. It was like old school shotguns too. Like it almost damn near looked like a musket. Anyway, so now we're going to Maui. So if anybody listens to this podcast when it airs, shoot me a DM or a Facebook message. And just if you've been to Maui and you have any suggestions of where we should go to eat or make sure we see this, let us know, because we're just gonna freestyle it the whole time we're there. So anyways, yeah, they just send me a message. Let me know. We're always up to suggestions. Now we're flying to Hawaii on United Airlines. And I'll tell you why I'm getting to this. I went to Charlotte. No. Did I go to Charlotte? No. I went to, where did I just go? Oh, I went to Virginia Beach. I was in Virginia Beach last week and I flew Southwest. And I flew Southwest because they had the best flight times. There's nothing direct into Virginia Beach from Cincinnati. But it was funny, like my wife's making fun of me like I'm slumming it. Like, I'm not slumming it. She's kidding. We fly Southwest. But usually we're flying Southwest because it's got a direct flight. If it's a layover, we're going to choose another airline. But the price difference was so ridiculous. In Southwest, I was like, both flights was an hour. It was like an hour from here to Baltimore, and then from Baltimore, Virginia Beach. It's really a 30-minute flight, but with the runway and everything, that takes longer than the flight. But we fly Southwest, and this girl gets on the plane, and I thought she was going to get kicked off. And I had my phone out because I said, oh, she's going to get kicked off. And here's what happened. She was on the phone talking, and they already closed the door, and they had said, put your phones away or put them on airplane mode. And she's just steady, and she's loud. And the flight attendant looked at her. She said, ma'am, is your phone off? She goes, I turned it off already. And she yelled on the plane. And she said, it is off. That's what she said. It is off. I go, oh, shit. And then, so I take my headphones off. I'm starting to listen. I'm starting to put my phone out. And to the flight attendant's credit, she calmed her down. Instead of kicking her off, she calmed her down. She goes, I'm just asking. She was like, I saw you was talking earlier. And she goes, well, it's off. And I think the lady wanted to make it a racial issue because it was a white flight attendant and she was talking to a black lady. But I was like, you were on the phone. You were on the phone. And now you're looking at your phone again. And it looked like she was talking again, I guess. She just said, she just asked her, is your phone off? Because you've already been, told once and it looked like you was on the internet, I'm sure. But she didn't have to yell. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to make anything more than it is. Because let me tell you something. You're not going to win with the flight attendant. If they want you off the plane, you're getting off the plane. Yeah. I'm not saying she was going to make a racial issue, but it looked like that's where she was leaning by the conversation I heard. But I'm glad it got diffused because if she'd got kicked off, we'd have been delayed. That's the last thing you want is get delayed on a Southwest flight. It's not like you're on first and you got a lot of room. And another thing that happened on that flight, it wasn't a full flight. And there were so many empty middle seats. You know how Southwest, it's a free-for-all. You just got to hope you get it on early enough to get a hour window. And so we're sitting there, and this man and woman sit right next to me. I was like, she took the middle seat. And I was like, what? I gotta look more angry or not. I got to stop smiling at people or act like I'm in a good mood when I'm on a plane because I think that invites people to sit down next to you. I literally was looking like there's no fucking way she just sat down and took this middle seat because I thought I had a lot of leg room. And I'm looking behind me like there's all these middle seats. I couldn't believe it. I was like, they boarded early. It wasn't like you're the last ones on. Somebody's going to lose the win of the luck of the draw you're going to lose. No. They boarded early and took these two seats. And granted, they were a couple and they were together, but I was just like, are you shitting me right now? You picked my row. And it wasn't no big deal to them, but I was like, God damn, whatever. All right. The Oscars. Tiffany Haddish stole the show at the Oscars. Again, she's playing Hollywood like a fiddle, man. She's like, get on board. She reminds me of a female Tracy Morgan. Because I always say, depend on the company and you change who you are. Tiffany doesn't change who she is. She's that ghetto, good-natured chick from LA. You know, she's hood. She ain't going to change who she is. That's who she is. Tracy was the same way. Tracy's like, I'm a New York dude, and he's a little off, and I think a little crazy, and same with Tiffany. But that's the genius of it, is the craziness. And you know at the core they're good people, and you gravitate to them because you want to be around the craziness, but you know it's not destructive craziness. And that's Tiffany. Like, she's crazy. Like, maybe you don't want to be stuck in an elevator with her for 3 days. But when you're out, you want to go to her. You want to say hi. You want to be around it because you know you're going to be around some craziness, but it's going to be love, and it's going to be safe. It's not going to be volatile. And you know it's not self-destructive either. Like, there's a method to the madness. Like, her crossing that red rope to go say hi to Meryl Streep, that was genuine joy and love, but it was also, I know this is what they want me to do. Like, I know when I do this, she knows what she's doing, man. It's coming from a pure place, but she knows exactly what she's doing. I love it. I love how she's just being her and like, Hollywood, this is me, so get on board or not. And her and Maya Rudolph had such good chemistry on that Oscar presentation. I know they're going to be in a movie or something together soon. I know it. Yeah. Black Panther repped, didn't get any Oscar noms, but they were there. Their presence was felt. And that's just as important as anything else if you don't win an Oscar. It's just your presence being in the building and you felt it, you know? So, all right, y'all. Well, it's a great week. Again, send your suggestions for Hawaii, and I'll see y'all next week. Gary Owen with the Get Some podcast.